31.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Powerstroke Tech Talk Podcast. This is number 31. We're having fun. We're getting them up there. We have our lovely DS. He's in the garage. I'm in the garage. Our newcomer, Rob, he's in the garage. And we got Rylan up at the top. He is in the basement. But thank you for coming back. We're talking trucks. You know what we do. We're getting used to it. We're talking about our power strokes all over the internet. We are on the Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, TuneIn, and Podbean. You guys can check us all out and listen to us at your leisure. Yeah, and we got shirts. I got shirts. I keep forgetting to mention it. I need to get that going. Get that on a little grind gig because I keep forgetting about it. Just got so much going on. But I don't know if everybody can see Rob. He's got a lovely black beauty sitting there in the garage. I like it. I can't see what year it is. Okay, but we're definitely working some Luma Duty. Why don't you tell us what's the deal with that thing, man?
So it's a 17. It's a 17 Lariat Ultimate crew cab, Powerstroke diesel, 4x4, the FX4, chrome package. Really stock. I ordered it brand new. Actually, I was reading about this change to aluminum, the Powerstrokes in general, and I got in on the computer as soon as it opened back in 2016 of November, and actually earlier than that, in April. That's when the computers opened in 2016, and I received the truck in November of 16. Had it ever since. Ordered it just how I wanted, right down to the small details.
What do we got on the clock? I'm gonna guess. Let's see. I'm gonna guess.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna say you got 61,000.
Yeah. Any other I guess is out there?
Being that you live way out, you probably,
okay.
Since 17, I'm gonna guess 123.
Okay, that's closer. Okay. That's closer, but
Ooh.
Now I saw. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go 105.
So we're at 134.7.
Dang.
Okay.
You gotta think everything's a little bit more spaced out there. So
yeah. So a lot of highway miles, original brake pads and rotors. Never touched it. I had the brake fluid.
I wish I had a soundboard right now where I could go, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
I mean, I kind of drive it easy, and so that probably accounts for that. But I changed the tires out at 122.
Okay.
122 the stock Michelins, and I put the same set back on. I mean, I like the stock ride and the quietness and stuff, especially the family thing.
I do have one question. Did you get one of these at all?
That's extended. Yeah, I did, but it expired. Mine only went to 100. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep. This is, I had talked to just briefly about this in another podcast, and I'm actually doing some research and conjuring everything to make some content. I want to talk about Ford's ESP plans, and Rob said he had that on there, and unfortunately it expired. But I just recently purchased mine for my 2020. My best bud, he just got his for his 19. A few of my other buddies have got their extended service plans now, but I highly recommend it. And I want to make a video highlighting, the things that maybe people don't know about these, because I think there's a misguidance when you buy a truck or a vehicle for that matter, and I don't want to say, rushed into the deal or whatever, and you may not get the exact service plan that may be good for you. And I want to go over those so you can be making educated decision, with these. Rob may know, I don't know if you had any repairs done, but these emission components, the DPF, the EGR, the turbos, and even the main stuff, the guts of the engine. I mean, the stuff's expensive, but having that ESP plan, Ford's ESP plan, it's not a aftermarket. I'm not getting paid to endorse it. I'm doing the repairs, and the stuff that I see is covered. Believe me, it is well worth the $3,500 or 3,100, whatever your criteria is for your truck and mileage and how far out you want to go.
Well,
and it's funny. I did have a water pump go out at 65. It was weeping, and it was under warranty.
Excellent.
And that was part of the ESP because that was
Excellent.
past the 36. So
I was
yeah,
watching. I was watching the podcast, Powerstroke Tech Talk podcast. I wasn't in this episode. I ended up watching it, and you guys were talking about having to replace one sensor on the like exhaust system. Could it cost you $800?
Oh, easy.
wow.
It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It can add up fast. I'm like, man. So I guess it's cool to have, it's cool to have that.
Yeah.
ESP.
I think like $5,000 repair or $100 deductible. $8,000 repair, $100 deductible. Like the cost of the ESP was $3,000. $5,000 repair or $100 deductible. Like, dude, trust me. You got a Vista roof.
Now here's
got that dual roof panel.
I do. Yeah.
$3,000 repair or $100 deductible. Trust me.
Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a little. What if you were getting a gasoline truck? What if you getting a 6.2?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is the ESP cheaper for that truck? I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely, most definitely.
So it would be comparable. It's not like you're gonna pay as much.
No. It's they have like a chart, like a huge chart that's got, every vehicle, the mileage, the time, and it's like you take it and it intersects, and then that's like your little block you pay, or because there's a whole different bunch of choices, and it's do you go right off the rip and get the 150,000 mile
I think
right off?
I think when they put the maintenance into it, I think it's just too much. Like when you want to put, but maybe for other people that's a good fit, but for me that's just not a good fit. To change my oil and all that.
I actually bought that. I bought that up front, the maintenance. I had 13 services, or quote me, is it 11 or 13? It went by so fast, but I mean, I was new to diesel, and I was, I'm mechanically inclined. I can do a lot of my own stuff, but I still was a little intimidated. So that's kind of why I bid at it.
Yeah. I did my oil change now for the first time, and I did the fuel filters, and I'm blown away at how easy it was. Like it literally for oil is the easiest oil change I've ever done.
And that's what I found out when I started doing myself. I'm like, I don't know if I'll do this again, but we kind of figured it out with a service advisor, just playing around with numbers, and it really almost breaks even, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
if you pay someone else, for the labor.
Yeah, so. I don't like. Well, if you get the ESP plan with the maintenance in it, are they going to tell you what kind of maintenance to get?
No, but they're going to tell you when to do it.
Yes.
So if you come in and you're wanting to do, say you're a dude that wants to do every 3,000 to 5,000 miles.
Well, if you
got to come in at the 7,500, and then
which might be not what you want to do.
That's
what I mean?
Or
exactly.
you know what they did for me. If you want to change oil or tranny fluid earlier, that's fine. They'll let you do it. It'll just eat up the amount of times you have. So out of that 13 or 11, they'll just take one off. So then you'll just run short on your mileage.
Now it'd be cool too if they just run mileage, maybe not, but if they run the oil life monitor, it'd be all right. Because you could run through your oil life monitor in 3,000 miles if you're using it that hard or that in those conditions. But if I had to run 7,500 miles, I don't even know what would happen because my oil life monitor goes off. I'm at 2 oil changes at 7,500 miles. So.
Yeah.
It's
So what I did is I was doing like 5,000, and then they're like, oh, Ford is saying 7,500. That's what they'll only pay for, and then they were telling me fuel filters, they were going like 30,000 for fuel filters.
Something
That's
crazy.
what they'll pay for. And
Yeah,
if you
that's why I'm
want
not
fuel
down with
filters, if you want fuel filters at the severe duty use, 15,000, which is in the book, severe duty, 15,000, then you're going to have to use up one of your service visits.
Yeah.
So,
I'm severe duty all around. I'm just severe duty.
Yeah.
Since you got out of your maintenance package or whatever, what are you still doing? 5,000? Have you been doing 7,500? Or you done something different?
The last couple ones I've done 7,500 because, I'm not towing all the time and I'm not hauling all the time. So, I kind of been keeping a close eye on it, and I won't go past 7,500 for sure.
I guess I forgot to even start off asking, like, since you've had this truck, because obviously you're the original owner, you owned
Yep.
it. What am I talking about? You ordered it.
Ordered it. Yeah.
Have you had any problems? Has it been to the dealer? Did something blow up? Did you have water leak, noise, anything, any problems?
Just that water pump.
No kidding. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That really is it.
So
besides the maintenance, yeah.
Is it true? Am I correct in saying that this would be like the first run 17s that you would have gotten?
Yeah, and it actually, what's interesting about that is, that coalescence filter for the crankcase ventilation.
Mm-hmm.
I know you did a video on that where you changed it. It's way in the back of the firewall.
Uh-huh.
This has the 16. I had the 16 and earlier sealed one.
Does it?
Yeah, and then I saw some other videos that the later 17s had the bolts, the changeable. So I think that since it's an early run, I remember you did another video on the wiring harness over by the air filter. There might have been chafing.
Yeah, on the EGR cooler.
That's it. And this is covered. This is sealed. I think it's got some loom around it or something. So because I checked it because of you. Thank you for that.
That was I found probably, I don't know, it was a good maybe half dozen trucks like that. And I wound up tweaking one of the AC lines just to the side just a little bit, and it gave that harness just enough more room to be, and not so crammed up against the EGR cooler. And that was what I was seeing cause these chafes. And, it was ultimately causing a check engine light. It was running rough, kind of shorten the injector circuits out, and was making it run all funny. So I guess I see DS sitting here, and it just reminded me something because I talked to somebody before we started filming and said 430 gears. He said 430 gears, and I forgot about 430 gears. And we got a drink for 430 gears. But I know he's wondering, what kind of oil are you running?
Shell Rotella T6.
Okay.
Synthetic.
Okay.
I ran, under the plan, the what do they call that? Not the ES extended service plan, the platinum it was
maintenance.
Yeah, and I had the
prepaid
platinum
maintenance
one or whatever.
Yeah.
They just included the Powerstroke oil, the 1030 or whatever.
1030.
1030. And ever since I got out of that, I just switched. I switched over to the Shell.
Any improvements?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think, I actually had a little, after a couple of the oil changes under 100, I had a little tick. Let's not even make like a lifter tick, maybe even. And it went away really quickly. But ever since the change oil, that's never came back again.
Are you changing the oil yourself, or are you taking it in?
I am changing myself right here in the garage.
So I am not jinxing you by any means, but I mean, you got no upper oil pan leaks or anything? Everything?
Nothing.
Dry?
Nothing.
Right on, man. Freaking
yeah.
So with your truck, you've already said you've had one issue. That's the water pump.
Correct.
You've never had a sunroof problem. You got a real early model twin panel moonroof.
Negative.
So an interesting theory was brought up that people who keep their trucks in garages with that twin panel moonroof have a lot more success because their truck's not in the elements all the time. That seal's not always getting cooked.
I could totally see that.
Absolutely. I mean,
I could totally see
could,
that.
Yeah, I can attest to a garage kept vehicle. I mean, you saw the Fox body I showed you guys earlier. Before the stream.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been garage kept its whole life. And
did you guys get that brand new?
That. What's that?
Did you get that brand new?
Got that brand new.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, way cool.
Yeah.
How many original miles are on it?
189.
No,
But
dude,
everything is changed.
That's way cool, bro.
That's a lot of miles.
That's way
solid,
cool.
Everything from motor mounts, training mount, drive shaft, everything's changed. Suspension.
Everything's been replaced at least once.
Yeah, you could say that.
That's awesome.
I had some fun with that car for sure. Has some sad times with it too.
I bet the fact that you still have it though,
yeah.
How often do you still
pretty
drive
fucking
it?
awesome.
What's that? Pardon me?
How often do you still drive it?
Well, I took it to the Woodward Dream Cruise. I mean, A-Rod knows about that up here in the southeast.
Yeah, that's a pretty. Did you drive it there, or did you tow it, or what?
Yeah, no, I drive it from where I live. It just.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's only like what, like maybe 45 minutes or an hour.
It's an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
So all these people listening are gonna be like, all right, hold on, what's he talking about? What's he talking about? Well, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
So you got to say what you're talking about, because
all right, you want to show?
You got to you got to talk and say it at the same times because people all aren't watching it. So you have to describe at the same time. Oh, I think you froze. Oh
no, he's frozen. It'll come back soon.
We're glitching. I don't know if you guys.
Ryan,
he's froze.
Ryan, are you frozen?
Nope, he's there.
Oh, okay. I'm like, dude, Ryan is not moving.
Oh,
he'll be back. He'll be back in a second.
There you
is. Almost.
Man.
Oh, there you are.
There you go.
All right. I don't know. You want to try it again or not? I don't know.
We might lock it up.
I can try it.
I guess we'll see what happens. Let's try it.
It worked well last time.
Try it. You still good?
Yeah.
Still good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did it lock up?
No.
Original paint and everything, or
no? That's not original paint. That's that's been redone. That car. I lived in South Florida. I had that painted down there. They did an okay. Yeah, that's the original. It's a 1990 Fox body Mustang GT, black leather, triple black leather, 5-speed, black top.
Yeah, I was.
And I got. It's got a 67 millimeter turbo on it. Intercooled.
Dang.
Yeah, you know what's funny about it? It's a stock block, and that's kind of the weakness of it. But I've got head studs on it, and that saves that. And the heads are O-rings, and I really believe in that. With boosted vehicles, O-ring the head, so it kind of puts an impression in the head gasket, so you're not likely to blow a head gasket as easy.
That firing ring.
I don't want it to. Am I still good moving?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's got lowering springs and there's a lot of stuff to it, but yeah, it's just up there.
That's awesome.
Good. Yeah.
I like the turbos. I have a supercharged, I have a supercharged Tahoe that I keep here in the garage. But I definitely want to get a video of, make a video on that, because I've been asked what's been under the cover of my Garage Queen, although it is a GM. It is not naturally aspirated.
Yeah. I put bare brakes on this so it could stop. It's got 4-wheel bare brakes, and it's pretty well balanced. It's got a cage in it. It's got a 6-point cage, subframe connectors. I mean, it's pretty. The car actually, being a convertible, it's a little heavier, so it actually hooks up, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's got the drag radials, but I don't even have to heat up the tires in it. It really does well. I think because of that.
Hook and book.
Yeah. So I put a TKO 600 trans in it, because the stock T5 and you put even a small amount of power in it and you just break them. Even if you go to a world class T5, yeah. So
Sitting back down in front of your truck just made me think of a question. So when you bought your truck and you ordered it, did you have like accessories that you wanted, like factory dealer installed, versus I'll just do it after, I'll just do that, I'll do that myself? Was there like something that you didn't get that you were gonna choose otherwise?
Yeah, really good question. So the bed liner, I was going to get a factory bed liner, and it says Ford on it,
The spray-in bed liner, or the
spray-in,
okay.
And it was like $700. It was about $700 and some dollars of an option. And
they don't cost that much. Yeah.
What's that?
They don't cost. They cost what, $600 for like a Line-X, right?
Yeah, Line-X. Yeah. Well, Ford was charging that at the time. I don't know if it's came down since, but
I don't know.
My dealer, my sales guy, he's really experienced. He was like, listen, he's like, I got a guy that can do it. So as soon as I get the truck, we'll take it over there. It'll be done before you pick it up and sign the papers. So he charged me $400. So yeah, it doesn't say Ford, on the back of the bed. It doesn't have the oval and say Ford, but it's pretty good. And then accessories. I was going to get the vinyl floors. I contemplated that and doing the carpet.
Really?
I did, man. Because, it's like you're wearing your shoes in your car all the time. I never really understood the point of carpet really in vehicles, especially a truck like this. I get it. It's softer on your feet, I guess.
A little bit more sound deadening, but you get that.
Okay. I didn't think about that. All right,
you get it with the vinyl because it's still got all the
carpet material thingy like that.
It's underneath the vinyl.
That thick.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not padding. Like the old days was just a sheet of vinyl on metal.
Okay.
But now this pretty much gives you the same amount of insulation too. But
okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. Well, that's about it. Besides that, I juggled around the idea of getting a platinum because I was up there in price already. I'm starting to peg this out. I'm getting ultimate package. I'm getting chrome package. I'm getting, adding things in. And I'm just like, well, I'm about, 8 to 10,000 off of the platinum.
Right.
But then I thought to myself, I'm like, well, I'll get the better leather. I know that with the platinum. I'll get the camera system, which I didn't really care about, to be honest with you. Some people might find that funny, but not me. I didn't really care about it too much. And then I've obviously the rear heated seat in the platinum and the massaging seats too.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That is a big one. That was a tough one,
That was really cool. That was really cool, especially back in 17. Because it was like the first
Super Duty's got massage seats. No
way. They flipped it, with these Super Duties. And then obviously the retractable running boards for the toys, Yeah. And
first
I said to myself,
tailgate.
I've got that on the Lariat Ultimate. Yeah. So I got that on the remote and I got remote start. But I said to myself, resale value, I'm going to keep this truck for probably up to 15 years, probably somewhere around there. So I said to myself, am I going to get that money out of it in 15 years being a platinum when I go to sell it? And I said to myself, I don't think so,
Did you get the
I don't know. It was a hard decision. And that might sound weird to some people. Some people might say, oh, I want to, be kind of balling and have the platinum, but
it's short lived. Because you ever see like a platinum that's like 10 years old, it's just like a Lariat.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We don't know if that's still going to be the case going down the road. And it might. Platinums now, it seems like Ford's kind of separated their platinums out. Like you said, the better leather and all that. But if you're looking at a platinum from the 11 through 16 models, it's not that big of a difference. Whereas
gotcha.
but time kind of equals everything out anyway,
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the platinums are awesome. I mean, don't get
Yeah.
I think they're. I mean, it turns my head, for sure. But
450, you see that 450 rolling down the road, and it's like
to me
yeah,
though,
platinum, that's true.
one of the problems I had with the platinum is all that badging is just too much for me. Like if it could just be platinum and kind of more low key, then sure. Like you get in like, oh, I didn't know this was a platinum. But for you to just put that thing on the whole rear and just like platinum, like I just can't, it's too much. It's just too much.
Right.
I'm not,
Yeah, I get you saying. So that was just my decision. And I mean, the wife was a little bit in on that too, She was like, yeah, we're good at where we were
Did you get LED
what you really
lights?
meant to say was my financial advisor, because I have one too.
Exactly, yeah. The boss, yeah, for sure. No, I got the LED for sure. That was a deal breaker. I mean, if I didn't get the LED lights, I wasn't getting this truck. I mean, I saw how awesome those looked, when in the magazines and Ford's, PR, when they first introduced this thing.
Ooh,
I think
Tom's coming in.
Have that,
Tom's coming in.
I think back then you can get the LED lights with every package.
It was I remember it was $1,100.
And you can get it with any trim, I think.
Yeah, it was $1,100. It came with the Bliss, the blind spot, sensors in the tail lights, and then it's all LED. The front, obviously, I think the cab are all the cab lights, even in the XL, are they LED?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but they stopped. I know they since stopped offering that LED light package on XL or XLT.
Okay.
But I think back in the day,
the quad beams.
Yeah.
What's up, Mr. Tom?
Welcome.
Oh, there he is. What's going on, Mr. Tom?
Just enjoying it here. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Good. Just talking about this black truck here we got behind Rob. Rob, this is Tom.
Tom.
Hey, nice to see you.
Just going over just kind of he's got a 17, got about 100 and what'd you say, 8?
134.
Oh, I'm way off. 134.
Yeah.
Just broke in.
Yeah, just broke in.
Yeah, there it is right there.
Oh yeah.
Nice truck.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of talking about his accessories that he, maybe ordered with the truck and didn't want to get and wanted to wait after the fact. And I think a lot of guys, when I guess it's different because I didn't order a truck, but I still would love to just have that experience of being able to, like a DS did, and going through and picking all the packages and seeing what changes. You get different bumper, you get different wheels, changes this or the interior. There's literally so many things you can pick from. It's a little overwhelming, but we did build a truck on here one time on
and that's kind of the big difference between the U.S. companies and the Japanese truck. They're pretty much you pick a package and that's what you get.
Cookie cutter.
Whereas with the U.S. trucks, it's you got a trim level, and but then even after you pick the package, you've got all of these other a la carte options, I call them. Where you can go in there and delete this and add that and change this, and
like he was talking about getting the vinyl floor and having the carpet delete. It's like that's you got the trimmed out house truck, all the options, but you can opt out and have that no carpet.
I wish I would have got the vinyl floor.
You go to the car wash and wash it out.
Maybe wipe it out.
Yeah.
I had a customer do that,
wipe it,
and it just oh my goodness, it was horrible.
Remember the Honda Element?
That
little boxy looking Honda thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can do that to vehicles. Yeah.
They originally designed that for college kids. And that was one of the aspects that they were advertising, was that you could take it to the car wash and wash it out.
Well, that's how they need to make the Super Duties.
Right.
They really should. It's
waterproof the dash.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, not even well, that'd be cool too, but just make the bottom, make the floor rubber and waterproof. That would be cool. If it were.
Speaking of Super Duty, trying, we need that in a Super Duty. I heard on the streets that there might be something coming up for Super Duty, possibly in 23.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
That
Inside scoop here.
that
What'd you hear?
possibly something with some generation of 1.21 gigawatts in the back.
Oh,
I'm down. I want that.
Remember we were just talking about that, how it would be I think DS was talking about that being at a construction site because nobody pulls up and has power there.
I've been saying that probably for like 8 years on the line, like going back and forth with the guy across from me. Like, man, don't you think they should just have a hybrid?
Man, I can't even imagine what kind of contraption. All I see is wires and cables and more
from a technical
modules.
perspective.
I'm like, oh,
Well, you remember the mid 2000 Chevrolet and GMC had a kind of a partial hybrid on their gas trucks.
Yeah.
They had in place of the torque converter, they had an electric motor inside the transmission, and that's kind of what they had. They had electrical outlets in the bed of the truck.
Oh, really? I didn't know they had those outlets.
yeah, I didn't know that either.
They didn't provide near as much as some of the hybrids can provide now. I mean, like the new F-150 with the 3.5 hybrid. I mean, first off, the thing puts out about 500 horsepower or something.
Power boost.
500 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah.
Plus, you've got all the electrical. There were some COVID stories about people, like losing electricity during a storm or something.
Yeah.
And one of those trucks pulls up and like powers the whole neighborhood or something.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
There was
how much can a Super Duty power? Go ahead, Rob. Sorry to cut you off.
No, there was just a few things I forgot on accessories while we're talking about it. So I got the rear inflatable seatbelts for this
truck.
How are
those?
And I was thinking, I
don't see that too often.
No, and I was thinking of my kids,
Okay.
And it was only $168. I was like, that's kind of a no-brainer for me.
Was this a factory option or a dealer option or an aftermarket?
He froze up. He'll be coming back.
Things that you can do.
You're breaking up. Oh, he's all crackly. He's all crackly, folks.
The internet died at his place tonight.
Yeah.
It's got
What was I just gonna ask?
Oh.
We're having technical difficulties.
Okay.
Am I back?
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
You're good.
All right, good. And then another thing I got is I got the heavy duty tow package, and that came with the upgraded springs and then the F350 axle I have in this truck.
So do you have is that a 250 or a 350?
It's a 250, but I have the F350, the Dana M275 14-bolt axle in this.
Yeah, the big boy.
So your gross vehicle weight rating is over 10,000? It's like what, 11?
No,
something?
it's right at 10,000. And it's, thank you for mentioning that. I took it to the CAT scales over at Pilot Truck Center. We have one out here, and I weighed in at 8,200, and that was, I have a tonneau cover on it. That's with my weight, and my daughter was in the car, but she's 2, so that.
So with the normal accessories and everything that you have in a truck, you have what, less than 2,000 pounds of free payload?
Yeah, it's only like the sticker says 2,200. The yellow sticker on
without
the tire,
anything. Yeah. So do you regret getting like a 250, or do you kind of wish you had got a 350 for the more capacity? Or
Yeah, I regret the 250 a little bit. I should have got the 350. I mean, the heavy duty tow package did come with an extra leaf spring, a half of one, kind of on the top. So on top of the stack, there's one up here like this.
Little helper
Kind of
spring.
Overload spring.
Yeah,
overload
overload
spring.
spring. And
Yeah.
I think I saw some other 250s that didn't have that. And I'm kind of thinking it's maybe part of the package that I got. But
Did you get OCR turned on?
OCR, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I
where
don't
you
know.
can monitor your DPF.
Yeah.
Filter
Yeah. With ForeScan.
message?
Yep, I did that.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
I did that. Yeah.
Excellent.
And I have getting into ForeScan. I've definitely done as much as I can to it with it.
Excellent.
Do
you
I
have,
also want to say one thing with the death wobble thing. I've never had it. And I read on scouring forums, and I don't really like to do that much because there's just a lot of misinformation on that. But I found a comment that really made sense. And some guy said, people with the heavy duty tow package with the heavier springs don't have the death wobble, that helps with the death wobble. I don't know if that's true, but I've never had it. So
well, you got enough miles now to
you would have thought you'd had it.
yeah,
potentially have had it. I've never had it either, and I've always had snowplow prep and with heavy springs and all that. So I've never really experienced death wobble.
yeah.
I remember I had it happen to me in your black truck, Rye.
Oh wow.
That was crazy. Violent. Nope.
Hey, Aaron,
If-
on regen for
Froze
a
right
second.
there.
You know what?
Yep.
Did I lock up?
Yeah, you locked up just like this. You're just like,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Tom?
You know what's funny? I'm kind of into like ham radio and stuff, and LED lights messes with RF radio frequency big time. So
what's ham radio?
It's amateur radio.
Oh,
Amateur
like a
radio
big
operator.
CB, like a big CB.
Yeah, it's
radio?
like you have a
Okay.
call sign and you get on repeaters and talk with people, and it's
like
either analog or digital.
truckers or
No, it's kind of like you get a call sign through the FCC. You got to take a small exam and
okay.
you got to pass it. Yeah, and you get a little license. But yeah, and I just when the reason I brought that up is I just turned my LED light off. I'm like, maybe that's messing with something. I don't know. So anyway, sorry to get sidetracked there, guys.
What were you saying about regen, Tom?
Oh, I have a customer that I was talking with earlier this week, and he's over 300,000 now on a 17.67. And we were looking at one of his latest oil analysis reports, and he was getting quite a fuel dilution. And so one of the questions I was going to ask back to Aaron was, is from a driver, just from the information that's available inside the truck, can you see how often the vehicle is going through regeneration?
If not inside the truck, if I had one of my, I don't want to say sophisticated, but it is, if I had my Ford scan tool hooked up to it, IDS or FDRS, then we can, see the distance between regens and, if it had completed successfully or what the soot level is. So in the truck, no, but if he has, OCR turned on, which was what I had asked Rob. There, I have 3 videos for the 11 through 16, 17 through 19, and then the 20 and 21s are going to be the same. That turns on information in the instrument cluster that displays a filter percentage, and you will see if it is in passive regen, which is just normal steady state driving, EGTs are up hot enough, and it is just normally gonna clean the soot off. You're gonna see that percentage. It'll be 80, 90, 95, and you're just be driving, look down, oh wow, it's at 70. Oh wow, it's at 65. It's passively regenerating right now.
Yeah, just gradually burn it out.
Yeah, so you can have a better idea of what's really going on in the exhaust if just that percent is turned on. And like I turn it on pretty much every truck that I get. And, I'll have customers, come back like, oh my God, what's this? I'm like, well, I put this little customer information sheet right here in the little map slot right here on the vent visor on your map pocket there. And, it says what this does, and it's not, anything to be worried about, simply informational. You want to know
it's
how
not changing the vehicle
Nothing.
characteristics, or all it's doing is giving them more information. Right?
That's it. And I feel, just being as a diesel, I think Rob, he has used Forescan as well as I have. You can turn the temps over gauges, and you can see how hot your freaking coolant is. Well, why wouldn't you want to know how much is in your DPF? You have a DEF gauge. It's just more info for the customer, and it's going to be more educational. So it's like, you're at 95, what comes after 95? Okay, I'll wait. Yeah, 100. Well, when am I going to pull up and stop? Go maybe take another loop around the highway, jet on, get on another exit, get back off. And I guarantee you, as soon as you get to that 575 mark, a couple good accelerations, you're going to see that percentage start to go down. And then if it's at 30, 40, 50, then go shut it. You're going to have this snowball effect, and it's going to get up and get up and get up, and you're not going to clean it. And then it's going to, take all this time to get it heat back up and go through the drive cycle. And then you're going to pull back up to your house, and you're just going to keep doing this. And then,
that makes sense.
As Tom was talking about, you talk about fuel dilution. When we have our active regen is going to initiate the PCM to, I don't want to say inject raw fuel, but it is injecting raw fuel. Yeah, it is going to cause some fuel dilution. And if the truck is continuously trying to go into regen because it sees that it's not being driven in a manner to do that, then we get into a scenario like he's having. And an oil analysis is going to tell you if you have fuel dilution or not.
Oh yeah, I see it all the time.
But the 6.7 has that design where it puts the fuel in the cylinder, and then it eventually on the exhaust stroke makes its way to the exhaust.
Well, the fuel is being injected into the cylinder in its rawest form as possible, because it's going out with the exhaust. So like soon as the exhaust valve open and that stuff's going out, we're getting that spray, and it's going to be as raw fuel as possible to get those temperatures started in the catalyst, which is what we need for all that stuff to burn. And it's like a big incinerator. That's all it is. And we're just
an alternative way to do it is to have an actual injector in the exhaust stream to put fuel right into the exhaust, versus using.
That's what big trucks do.
Transits, the 3.2 Puma does that.
It
actually has, it's called a fuel vaporizer.
Yeah, technically it means more components. It means more components and potentially more failures.
Less wear on the engine.
But it's less wear.
So here we are trying to clean the environment, yet we're dumping fuel.
Right.
So with my truck being
figure that one out.
With my truck being low mileage, I'm not seeing fuel in my oil, but I'm wondering if, because that truck's got 300,000 on the clock, if that's why it's maybe seeing fuel getting to the oil.
We've been watching his oil since about 100,000. This guy pulls RVs, and so he kills that truck every week,
Oh, okay.
And so, but he's had fuel in the oil basically since the first time we checked it, clear back at around 100,000, 60,000, I think. But one of the reasons he gets so much fuel in the oil is he sleeps in the truck. And so he idles the truck all the time.
Yeah.
And so he's either got the air conditioner on or he's got the heat on. And then I talked to him the other day, and he's been fighting headwinds a lot in the Midwest. And he pulls these, it's the biggest trailer that he can pull. And he said it's like having a frickin' sail on a ship, and so it's just like pulling a brick wall back there.
Yeah,
so how do you combat that, I guess?
The idling's hard on the truck because
you don't, I guess, yeah.
The idling's just Especially, I would imagine it's pretty cold. You know,
Well, it's either cold or hot, depending on where he is.
Is it, and then I'm sure it might not be cost effective to high idle, but they don't like idling in the cold at just whatever. It's probably going in and out of high idle on its own based on what the computer sees.
Yeah,
I'd be curious to see if he has that OCR turned on or is monitoring, you know, that.
I don't think he is, because when I've asked him about his DPF regenerations before, I mean, he knows what they are, but there's, you know, I don't ever get a lot of information after that. And so I think he's just letting the truck do its own thing all the time, which, hey, that's fine, you know. But the way he drives, it's probably in passive regen, you know, constantly, because he's max load, high speed, you know, he is pushing that thing probably 80 mile an hour max load all day long.
He's probably just his boost gauge must be just pegged, you know, the whole time. Yeah.
I just recently made a video talking about all these types of regen, the 3 types of regen, one that the customer really isn't going to have to deal with, just more so the dealer level or technician rather. It is going to be real educational and talking about what this regen is, what messages I'm supposed to see, just to educate people on that. Because I mean, what's regen?
Right. A lot of people don't know.
Huh? What?
I get a lot of new customers who have never.
I gotta let the dog out. Hold on.
So.
Yeah, when I first got going with the diesel, it's kind of like I had to learn about the regen, the fuel separator. I had to learn so much, man.
It's a learning curve. Yeah, there's a lot to it. You know, A-Rod had a guy on one of the talks. He let his truck. He said he let his truck. He was doing RV transport also, and he let his truck idle all night. I don't know. Do you remember that one guy? I don't know if you saw that episode, but
the guy you're talking about, his name isn't Felix, is it?
Yeah, that's Felix. Yeah, I think that was his name. Yeah.
Because it's ironic that they both tow RVs. They could be the same guy for all we know.
Yeah. My guy is not Felix, but
okay, just making sure.
So, but no, I mean he runs that thing basically every day, and you know, as many miles as he can possibly drive in a day legally, you know, and he's pulling the biggest trailer that he can pull with it, because that's where he makes the most money.
Yeah.
And he's running AMSOIL, so he's getting, you know, 300. He's already at 300,000.
Right.
So I'd be curious. I'm curious to see how long it lasts.
Well, he had a scare recently, and it was a false flag. He had the rear differential service, and he had been running AMSOIL gear lube in the rear differential since about. But he was at the point where he was going to change it again, and he took it to the dealership. Of course, this was not Aaron's dealership, you know, but he took it to a dealership, and they changed the rear diff fluid, but they didn't pull the cover. All they did was suck out the old fluid and pump back in new fluid. And he wanted to do an oil sample of that old fluid.
Right.
So he sends the sample in. Well, the sample comes back Cat 4, red flagged, you know, metal shavings, viscosity's bad, you know, all stuff. And I'm like,
so they had the oil out of a machine. Like everybody's
what they did.
They gave everybody's oil. Oh man.
And so it scared the crap out of him for good reason, you know. Here you're supposed to trust in this oil analysis, and you get this report back that's just, you know, looks like your truck's gonna blow up. Looks like your truck is already blown up. And so he took it back to the dealership, and they pulled the rear cover and cleaned everything out and refilled it and checked the lash on the gears and everything. And the master tech who normally works on his truck is the one who finally worked on it this time. And the guy said, your differential looks like brand new. So he said, don't worry about it.
Oh man.
So,
they give him some of that oil from the they gave him some oil from
go scrape some out of that pit over there or something, you know?
I'm worried about an oil sample. They probably were like, yeah, we'll give him some oil.
Well, they probably forgot to capture. They probably forgot to do it. You know?
They probably forgot to do it.
And then all of a sudden he realized, oh crap, I got to put some oil in that bottle.
Give him some oil from the machine
It's
that's
Wow,
been just draining diff oil from every vehicle that hasn't been hasn't maintained it. You know what? Diff oil comes out, for the most part, it comes out half the time it comes out looking like glitter because it doesn't get done enough or that often or whatever. And they'll just come out looking nasty.
If you take a brand new vehicle and drive it, 10,000 miles, especially if you're putting a load on it, those gears are going to generate metal shavings as they wear against each other. So I always tell people, I'm like, look, I don't care what the manual says. Change the oil after the first, 10, 15,000 miles. And then if you want to go whatever the manual says, that's fine. But you need to get that first load out of there because it's going to have the metal in there from where the gears mated with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I did hear that when they make the gears, they're made only so precise and they actually wear in together.
Yeah, they have to wear in.
Yeah.
It's the same way with your clutches, automatic transmission. When they first go through about that first 5 or 10,000 miles, especially if you're putting a lot of weight on them, that friction material is going to scuff off in there a little bit, And so then if you pull the pan and clean all that out and put in new fluid, new filter, then if you want to run, a long interval, that's fine. But now you got a 450, right?
Yep.
And you're plowing snow with a 450?
Yep.
But it's set up for snow plowing, right? With the prep package and everything?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
How big of a plow?
It's got an 8-foot 10. So it's either 8 feet or 10 feet.
Wow.
So
it's one of these that's got the double, but you can push in both directions to the side, or is it just a single moldboard?
It's got the one where it goes to either direction, maybe.
So a hinge in the middle?
No, that's a V plow. But the one that I got, like the wings are out from the side of the, so they kind of get
on
longer.
the edges.
Yeah, just the edges get longer to 10 feet.
So you can turn it one way or the other.
Yeah, like one edge will scoop in and another one will be straight.
Okay.
Or it can go down to 8 feet. Pretty cool.
I think one Tom had a great thing he's gonna get over to me. I'm gonna make a video on it, and it's another way for us to take oil samples, and not only through the crankcase, trans, diff, transfer case, or whatever fluid you want to get analyzed. It's a pretty sweet contraption because it's not.
Yeah, it's just a little suction pump.
Yeah,
I broke mine. I was going to take an oil sample out of my own truck in my wife's car the other day, and so I got out it's just a little suction gun that the oil sample bottle screws onto the bottom of. But my own suction I've had it for about 10 years, and so I had to order. When I ordered your new one, I had to order a new one for myself too because mine finally gave it up. So
it's something that a DIY guy can use. It's not a special tool that you gotta pay an arm and a leg for, and boom, pull your thing out.
Well, it's the best way to get the most accurate sample too. So like you said, if you want to pull a sample out of a differential or out of a transfer case or anything, you just put a little piece of hose on it, suck it out, and it keeps everything clean and goes right in the bottle.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the 0W40 oil? It's recommended. Ford, the owner's manual says you can run it any temperature, just like a 5W40.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
That is what I sent Aaron the other day. He's not done the video on that yet, but the longer I'm in this business and the more experience I gain, and I've been doing it for about 16 years now, actually longer than that if you count my time in the military, but I run a zero weight, either a 020 or a 030 or a 040 in all of my own equipment. And I think it is the best oil in general because you get oil moving sooner at startup. And that's where a lot of wear occurs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And so the only thing that, and this is perceived to be a negative with zero weight oils. And when I say zero weight, it's the zero in front of the W. So whether it's a 0.20 or a 0.30 or a 0.40 or whatever, in order to get that first number to a zero, they have to modify the additive package. And that makes the oil a little bit more volatile. And so the engine's going to use a little bit more oil. It might, because the oil's more volatile. But to me, there's an advantage there. Your oil's moving through the engine sooner at startup, especially when it's cold. But also, if the engine does use a little bit of oil, I mean, we got a lot of these trucks and cars now have 7,500 to 10,000 mile oil change interval. Well, if it uses a little bit of oil and that makes room for a little bit of top off oil or oil to add, where we add a quart, maybe at 3,000 or 4,000 miles, that's good because now we're sweetening the package. We're sweetening the additive package in between oil changes, so it's keeping the oil more robust. So I am very gradually moving to recommending zero weight, and I'm glad to see Ford put it in their owner's manual, where they said zero W40 is recommended on the 6.7 for all temperatures. So doesn't matter.
Yeah, good little chart there.
Cold. Yep. So I like it.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that oil next, and then I kind of got a little cold feet and was like, oh, I'll stick with the 540. But I do think I want to try it now.
Oh yeah, I would definitely, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah.
But just saying, you can run it year round. But to me,
a no-brainer.
Guys, I was watching. Is one of you talked about the fact that you could hear that your truck sounded different when you started it when it was cold?
Yeah.
Is that you, Aaron?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I know what it was. It was on the video that you did where you were talking about using a plug-in heater or not. And when you plugged it in, it sounded different from when you didn't plug it in and started it cold.
Most definitely. It sounded more, the engine just sounded more just angrier, just more like fluffier.
It didn't want to start.
Yeah.
Well, that's because there wasn't as much oil moving through it, and the oil was thick, So one of the things that the plug-in heater does is reduces the viscosity of the oil so that it flows through there quicker. The oil pump move it, whereas when it's cold,
Doesn't want to flow.
But it doesn't want to flow. So
that'd be interesting to see. Because I know
I want to do a cold start power draw on the starter. How much amperage is the starter drawing on a conventional 15W40 versus a synthetic 040 on a cold day, and see how much power difference there is.
It'd be interesting. I think you want to do it with a vehicle that cranks, like a 7.3, like an old 7.3 that actually struggles a little, because I don't know, a 6.7, it seems like if you did that, it might not be that big a difference on that particular truck because it cranks so easily, but I don't know about 15W40 though. I've always ran 5W40 at least. So
I did some research on this many years ago, and there's a calculator that you can go to online, and it'll show you what happens to the viscosity of an oil as it gets cold. On about below like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and you start heading towards zero. I mean, it's like a freaking hockey stick, man. It just goes straight up in terms of that oil getting thicker.
So what about the 1030? Like, where do you think that sits?
Well, it's going to sit. Just look at the numbers in terms of that 10 is even thicker than your 5W40. and so it's going to be harder to turn over. So
If we only had like a test cold cell, that would be cool.
They exist.
At a disposal.
They just cost a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's why I think
sweet.
the starter draw would be a good representation of that. Because the colder that engine is and the harder it turns over, the more power it's going to get that's going to be drawn into that starter.
I was talking before we started recording, or was it before you came on, that the oil bypass kit just recently made that video talking about what this is, what it's going to do, talking about that filter, and what we're going to figure out mounting this thing. Right. And if it's going to be on the cab, if it's going to be on the frame. I need it to be accessible. I need any Joe Schmo to be able to lay underneath there. And brother, you play with Legos, you'll be able to put this on. It needs to be that easy. Exactly. So I think it's going to be a 2-part series. What I want to do, because right now my truck's leaking oil, and there's a recall on the transmission. So the transmission needs to come out. I'm going to give that to the trans dude. Let him do what he's got to do. And then I'm going to fix my oil leak, because I don't want to put the 0W40 in here and then just have to let me fix this oil leak. I don't know. I'm going to have to pull the trans to look at it anyway. And it's like back here in this corner here by the starter. And I don't think it's the upper oil pan. I feel like it's coming from inside the bell housing. It could be the back of the pan and it's inside the bell housing, but I got to tear into it, and I really don't want to.
And it's your own truck.
But when all that stuff's out, then I'm going to fix that, and then get that oil in there. And obviously between now and then, I'm going to be brainstorming where to put this jig, where we're going to do this, because like you said, that's going to be the key to successfully installing it. Because like you were saying, everybody's trucks isn't going to be the same. You guys lifted it. The dudes put big tires, got a aftermarket add-on toolbox, whatever. So I'm excited for that. I think, in my opinion, having, what did you say the bi-filter setup has, where like you said the oil comes out and then goes right back into the separator plate? It doesn't actually go up to the oil cap?
No, the dirty oil comes out of that sandwich adapter that's in between the oil filter and the engine. So, and when I say dirty oil, it's not really dirty. It's just, it hasn't been through the bypass filter yet. So it comes out of that sandwich adapter on the side of it, goes to the bypass filter, goes through it, and then the return hose goes up, it drops it back into the oil fill cap.
Right, but what about
you're talking about the alternate design where everything's located underneath the truck, and instead of having the filter separate
dual remote.
Yeah, the dual remote one.
The dual remote, that's that one. Everything leaves the engine, goes to the bypass or the dual remote filter head, and then all of the oil goes back into the engine.
So that's not even a bypass then.
No, it is. There's a bypass filter mounted on there's 2 filters mounted on a single head.
But is it full flow, or is the actual
one of them is full flow?
Uh-huh.
So the first filter is full flow. The second filter is the bypass filter. So a small amount of the oil that's coming into that filter head. Most of it's going through the full flow filter and right back out. And then
our question, I think, was we were talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our question was, once that design, it does a partial filtration of that oil, how does it get it back into the oil stream? Like
on the one where you have 2 filters on one head?
Yeah.
So when the oil comes out of the bypass filter, it just goes right back in with the rest of the oil that's going back towards the engine.
Okay.
So it's still doing the same thing.
So it takes the pressure side, the higher pressure side, and then puts it back into the lower pressure side, because I would imagine there's a little bit lower pressure on the other side of the system.
Yeah, there's a restrictor in the bypass filter.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So that's
So there's
what keeps,
so there's an orifice there
yep.
that maintains that little bit of difference. Okay,
Yep.
now it makes sense.
They both have that, but yeah, so that way when the oil comes out of the bypass filter, it just goes right back in with the oil that's coming out of the full flow filter, and then mix together and head back into the engine.
But with the second design that we're talking about, you don't have to have that hose going up and then pouring the oil back through the valve cover.
Right, it all goes back into the engine on the bottom.
So that could be a cleaner option if that you're not going to get as much filtration, because you're not going to get a dual remote.
The end result is exactly the same.
Oh, okay, it is.
So it's just that the full flow filter that goes on that dual remote head is not as big as the full flow filter that the factory size full flow filter that's on your 6.7 engine, and the thread size is not as big. So that's one of the reasons that I like the single remote better, is because it retains the larger, higher flow, full flow filter.
Okay.
Rob.
Yeah.
For being just a regular Joe customer, have your own truck, how do you digest that? What do you think about all that information? Is that something you think would be beneficial? Do you find that possibly getting onto your rig one? What do you think about it?
No, I honestly don't. I wouldn't do any of it, really. I just leave it the way it is. I mean, it's working great for me. I've had zero problems with this. I don't foresee anything in the future. I guess if something came up, I'd look into it more. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand with that.
Do you get your oil analyzed or anything?
No, I haven't sent it out. I talked to a buddy of mine, and he's done that before, and he suggested that I do that, but I probably should. But I mean, me, I'm running 55 and above a lot. I have low idle hours.
You're not pushing the truck hard anyway. I mean,
no, I'm really not. I mean, I pulled a trailer to California, 20 by 8.5 cargo trailer. And I pulled it in 115 degree. There was like a heat warning out there.
You've got the T6. You got the T6 in the engine already.
Yeah, well, actually, that was when I had the motor, just the Powerstroke.
You had the 1030 in there.
Yeah, the 1030 in there, and that was even, getting back. I forgot one thing. With ForeScan and putting the temperature above the temperature gauge, but the actual number.
Yeah.
I actually saw it. I hit 240, and it wasn't done back then. I didn't have the ForeScan mods, and that's where I saw that temperature came up. It said 241. That's where it showed up, stock from the factory. And I was pulling through the ever popular. I know there's a couple channels on YouTube that test the Ike Gauntlet in the climb up to Vail, Colorado.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I pulled through there. I pulled that trailer through there. And it was like,
that was your oil temperature that got to 240.
That was the coolant temperature. And that's where I first noted. That's where I first noticed, like, oh, there's a possibility for a digital number to be above that gauge, And I don't know. It's just something I wanted to tell you guys. That's where I saw that. And I saw that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's pretty warm, So, definitely. But yeah, I don't really push the truck. I mean, so today I drove 200 miles, but it was basically unloaded. It was, the girls in the back and myself.
Daily driver kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm driving it on country roads. I'm just running at 55, 60, or, anywhere from 55 to 75. I don't really speed that much in it, but I don't really see the point of it. But Yeah. And it regens beautifully. I don't have any problems at all. No oil leaks, no nothing. So for me, my answer to you, A-Rod, I don't know if I would do that mod right now.
Right.
Gotcha.
It might not be cost effective
Right.
Yeah.
either. But for me, I've been kind of toying with it back and forth because I end up in a situation where I got to do a lot of oil changes because for whatever reason, plowing, doing what I'm doing, I keep blowing through my oil life monitor within like 3,000 miles or like a month. Like in a month of me working, it'll just go through the whole oil life. And it's like, it can get to be, do I want to like, mess around with all the different, or not have the maintenance records show that I've been just changing it versus I keep having to keep changing it every month or whatever. Whereas if I had everything set up to be extended and didn't have to do it, then it might be worth it for me. I don't know yet though, still pretty new, very early.
Yeah. No, I understand you on that one. Yeah.
So if you're going through an oil life at 3,000 miles, that's got to be based on, and Aaron, tell me if I'm wrong, but that's got to be based on fuel consumption, isn't it?
Fuel consumption is one of the things it looks at, but
Right. Yeah.
that
It's probably
runtime and
Outside temperature.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would
I got a question for you on power steering fluid change. A-Rod, what do you suggest? Do I suck out the reservoir and just put back in? I mean, I've tried that and I'm only getting maybe 5 ounces, maybe a little bit more out of it. And
so go take your phone, go right here underneath the frame rail of your truck, and you're going to see this rubber line go from rubber to steel.
Do it now.
Right here on the driver's side of the frame. Go show what I'm talking about.
Well, let me set up the light then. Let me see here. All right, in front of the tire?
Yep, right in front, right underneath the tow hook, right inside under the radiator. Yep. So if you lay down if you lay down on the inside of the frame, keep going.
Now, let me see. Let me get some light up in here.
Looks pretty.
Well,
he doesn't live in Detroit.
I washed this truck. I have a underbody cleaner. It attaches to a power washer. I keep the salt.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So where now?
Go on the inside of the frame. So that's the outside. Go on the inside of the frame.
Farther back?
No, like on the inboard of the vehicle.
This needs to be a video.
Okay.
For sure.
See on the frame.
Yeah.
No, show the side of the frame. I'm looking up at the diff.
Like up here?
Yeah, I want to see the frame.
Let me go to the back. Let me go to the other side. Hold on a second. Probably. Let me see here. Yeah.
I see the frame.
All right, I'm getting dirty for this one. All right, here we go. I'm getting down.
Taking one for the team, man.
That's right.
No problem. Okay, where? Like behind the diff?
Nope. In front of the diff.
In front of it.
Let me see the side of the frame.
Oh, I see it. All right.
Yeah. You see that line? Show them the line.
Right. Now it's hard for me to position the phone.
Nope. Go forward to that more. Go forward to that.
Forward to.
Yep. On the other side of that. On the other side. Go towards the front of the truck.
Okay.
There it is.
Hold on. Oh, is that the cooler you're talking about? This?
Yeah. See that? See this metal line that's up there? It goes from metal to rubber.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's how it was on the.
You disconnect that, and then your power steering fluid will just all drain right there.
That's a low point. That's a low point there, huh?
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's similar to how it was designed on the 5.4 150 I had.
Right by that electrical connector.
What kind of power steering fluid does it use? Is it
This
like
one
an
right here
ATF?
you're talking about, right?
No, that
This one right here?
no.
Oh.
See that electrical connector, that black connector that's hanging right there on the frame?
Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah, look above that electrical connector. You should see like a metal to steel to rubber line.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the power steering line. So if you just take that little clamp off and wiggle that little rubber line off,
Okay.
you'll just drain it all right there. And now you can actually, you don't have to get power steering fluid. You can actually use Mercon LV, which is
And
the
I have
same
plenty of that.
trans fluid you're going to use.
Yep.
Fill it right up. And for all you guys that don't know as well, Ford has just now changed the fluid requirement for the transfer case. It's no longer the XL 12, I think it was. It's now Mercon LV.
Yep.
So pardon me?
Power steering, transmission, transfer case.
Yes. So don't obviously go by your owner's manual, although the owner's manual is going to tell you to use power steering fluid. We now can use Mercon LV. So
I bet if you switch from power steering to Mercon, I bet it smooth it out. I'd probably make it lighter to turn, I would think.
maybe. I mean, it's just hydraulic fluid is really all it is. And
Right. Is my 20 ATF, or is it power steering from the factory?
I don't know.
I
really don't know.
It turns so easy. It's like
When I drove my truck home and then I got in your truck and we went to go film, big difference. Big difference, man.
I've been driving it like, what, dude, the way it turns is just wonderful. It's just barely any effort. Like the lightest steering of any vehicle, and it's the largest vehicle that I've ever owned.
We love, but it needs more caster, and it has 430 gears, and I love it.
You know what? I don't think I need more caster. I don't know. I don't want to mess with nothing. I'm just gonna leave it. Leave it the way it is. I don't want to mess nothing up.
So when I go to refill that, do I have to turn the wheel lock to lock at all to get air out, or leave the cap off?
No.
Yeah.
Now,
No?
if you start it up with no fluid in it, it's going to suck all that fluid down and then draw air into it. But if that steering gear, which you're not draining, is full of fluid, you're going to just dump fresh fluid on top of it, and it's going to suck all that down.
So so if you're going from power steering fluid to ATF, are you mixing? They'll mix just fine, and then
it's essentially the same thing.
So their power steering fluid's not like gear oil anyway. It's already like an ATF type of oil.
No. Those X number fluids, those were just fancy numbers for a hydraulic fluid anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So this isn't a thick gear oil. This is still something. It's compatible.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think this would be.
Years ago, we used to use transmission fluid in power steering on everything.
Yeah.
And then we only switched when they started going to the low viscosity fluid on the transmissions, and they thought they still needed to use the thicker fluid in the power steering. But now they're realizing that they can use the lighter fluids in the power steering as well.
I think it's really confusing because I've been asked a bunch about that. Hey, A-Rod, what fluid does my transfer case take? Or, hey, I just drained my power steering fluid. I had a big leak. Can I not use power steering? Yeah, actually, you can use, your trans fluid, because the owner's manual isn't going to necessarily reflect what the current, I guess, requirement is, because they're all
updating.
Right.
Not updating.
Right.
So, and power steering systems are simple hydraulic systems anyway.
That's it.
They're not complicated.
I think one system that we haven't really talked about has been coolant. And this will probably be, great time for us to end this one and pick up the next podcast talk with Tom because we have some great talk we're going to want to do about coolant. And
talk for weeks about coolant.
I literally just got a comment while we were filming about coolant and about using the new yellow coolant, and then I got a 6.0 in gold and this, and we're going to clear it all up, and we're going to talk about it here. We're going to talk about it on the Powerstrokes and any other Ford vehicle, because it's going to be changed, across all of our Ford products. So, Tom, again, thank you so much for joining back with us. Rob, newcomer, we'll have you back on. Definitely want to talk.
Yeah, love to come back on. Thanks for having
talk about your truck. And DS, Ryan, as always, make sure to check out our email if you want to get on the show. Get in the queue, talk trucks. Check my email above my head, and I'm going to put all of Tom's info in the description if you have some lubricant questions for him.
Lubricant and coolant.
Thanks so much for talking with us and watching, and we'll catch you guys all next time. See you.